here's the plan. All right. We're going to do a best-of-9 series between Black Thought, a.k.a. CometK, and Diktator, a.k.a. Conqueror 999 in Deathmatch. I will be casting it on my lonesome, and Kaiser Klein will join us for game number 2. Please bear in mind, I've never casted a game of Deathmatch before. I vaguely know what happens. You spam a bunch of houses in the start of the game, and you get your church for mercantilism, and you ship your factories, and sometimes if you want to rush, you send a big military shipment, because Age 4 military shipments are actually very, very impressive. So looking forward to seeing those. And we are now beginning 20,000 resources for both players. And the game has begun. And look, immediately you place, by the looks of it, 3 stables, 2 barrackses, and I'm not even sure how relevant the population graphic will be. And apparently you call your Minutemen from the start of the game as well. The score is not 4-4. The score is indeed 4-0. And you spam houses down at the back of your base. And there's a lot of stuff happening all at once. Mercantilism already in, I think, for blue. And probably for yellow as well. We'll go to text complete. Yeah, both of them grabbing that. So this gives you 1,500 XP, and you immediately get something like 6 shipments from this if you send it at the start of the game. And apparently your Minutemen have a fight in the middle of the map. And of all things, Riding School and Team Fencing School are the first upgrades you send. Of course it would be. You would send... Of course you would send and engineering school apparently as well. So by the looks of it, what we've done is mercantilism is sent super fast, and then you queue up team fencing school and fencing school, which gives you pretty much instant training musketeers or instant training infantry in general. And that means what we're going to see is just Diktator is able to field strelets and musks just super fast. And by the looks of it, we're going to have a fight immediately in the middle of the map here. So Deathmatch isn't just all about fighting with your 20,000 resources, although that often does decide the game, who can be the most sort of economic with those shipments, so to speak, the war of attrition, who can get the best trades. But it also comes down to economy, which is why we're seeing factories coming out already. I think Black Thought, though, he's starting with CometK here, Riding School, just to make sure he gets his units out very quick, which he's combined with the church upgrade? No, you already get that. Oh, everything's already researched. Of course it is. It's Deathmatch. So he's got the cavalry train faster upgrade from the church, and that does mean you get very, very fast training cav archers. They are veteran cav archers, though, so maybe you don't get the upgrade. Text complete. No, they've only got 1 upgrade each, so I guess these are guard. They just say veteran for some reason. But Abbas guns now coming out as well, and that's as a result of having sent the engineering school. That means, I guess, technically, Abbas guns are artillery, even though, yeah, they upgraded here by the looks of it, even though you sort of normally expect them to be infantry. And now some artillery coming out, just a lot of stuff happening all at once. Fort wagon from Diktator trying to secure the middle of the map here. The fort gives you quite a lot of map control. It's very, very strong, especially with the all the upgrades here. It's got Star Fort, Revenant, and he's even sent Sevastopol just to train things really, really quickly. He can train forts and stuff, I believe. Let's check his deck. Good God, what the hell is going on? Fort. Musketeers enable build action. Fort adds 1 to build limit. Yes, so the Russian Musketeers can now... Not only does he get a fort wagon, but his musks can rebuild that fort when it is destroyed, and the fort is obviously incredibly powerful with all of these upgrades here. So just trying to secure map control, and also these are like jumping off points to just spam his units out of and receive shipments at. But yeah, my first impressions of Deathmatch are that from the get-go, upgrades are very, very valuable. I was expecting to see more military shipments, honestly. I thought we'd see stuff like maybe, there's quite a lot of stuff in here for the Ottoman player anyway. I guess, like, as the war of attrition gets further in, we'll start seeing stuff like 8 cav and, all of these shipments here, but not to begin with. That's, like, to help you out later on, it would seem. Although, holy crap, that's the winged hussars? Yeah. The Bashkir ponies, rather. That's what's just arrived. Bashkir. The advanced church upgrade. Big batch of cavalry here. But now 3 mortars coming out, and Black Thought just trying to handle the... He's CometK making artillery. He needs to handle those forts. But it looks like he's just getting pushed further and further back. It seems really tough to handle instant training infantry. Russia seems like a very strong civ in Deathmatch, which is probably why it picked first. Although I shouldn't make comments like that because I really have absolutely no idea. No Mongo. Yeah, apparently his audio, it was working earlier in the week, but it's not working anymore, so we won't have him for the time being. But Kaiser will be joining me for game 2, I believe. But, yeah, pushing back now. And this is going to come down to that sort of treaty-style war of attrition, at least to begin with, because when you start, you just need to make sure you've got the right units and you're always training the right things here. Strelets coming out to deal with the Cav Archers, but now that the Cav Archers... But now that there's so many Strelets, we start seeing Hussars, Gardner Hussars from the Ottoman. And also actually get really, really strong Hussars, which you don't often see. You don't often get all the way to the Industrial Age as Ottoman. It's just not a civilization that goes to that age traditionally, but they do get really strong Hussars. Looks like, though, a Diktator is pretty much out of food now. He's only got sort of 1,500 food left, and it seems that that Otto is now starting to push out. He's still got 3,000 food, and it looks like his shipments for the last 4 have just been nothing but military shipments, which is what's keeping him, you know, stocked up. And 2 great bombards coming after this. And it looks like Russia needs to start switching into food. He's got his factories down, which are toggled to food here. I assume the other one is. Yeah, it is. And he's starting to train villagers. He's got 3 TCs down and needs to get his mills and plantations. I think mills are actually... they don't have the upgrades on them. But with the upgrades, I think at some point they get more efficient than hunts. But there's so many hunts on the map. I guess they just need the safety. You don't want to be having your vills out on the map gathering. Thanks for the 3 win. I mean, I wouldn't know why it's a free win, but apparently it is. Well, it's looking pretty good for CometK. Big, massive Abyss guns there. Not used to slow training Cav. Yeah, he's looking pretty good. He's got 2 great bombards. He's got 3 mortars behind this. And that's going to give him what he needs to push forwards and start destroying these buildings. He managed to handle this fort here, although there's a bunch of artillery foundries going down on the side, but no villager to build that just yet. And pushing forward with his Abyss guns here. The fact that his infantry train basically instantly is really good for Diktator. But what he doesn't have is Cav, and they do not train instantly because he's got riding school, and the Cav just aren't going to come super fast, which means he's not going to have what he needs to handle, you know, all these Abyss guns. Does get a few veteran Cossacks out, which are actually guard Cossacks, it says right here. So I guess Deathmatch sort of, just for some reason, doesn't update the names of the units, but they do have the same stats as guard units. And that's the real issue it looks like he's facing, and judging from their comments as well. He needs to get more Cav out to handle the Abyss guns and the great bombards. He's now starting to push out, now that his eco is starting to get stronger. He's got 50 villagers all on food now. So Russia really... His eco, yeah, starting to get up. He is gathering... Okay, so he is gathering from the hunts. It's just the 1 mill here that he built earlier. And now Russia also has in the building HP upgrade here. 40% hit points. So this fort and indeed all these other buildings are really, really strong. When you start comboing all of these cards, the ability to build forts that are already very strong. Oh, big volley from those horse artillery. But remember, Abyss guns very strong against artillery as well. But just did a good job of keeping them out of range. So managed to keep his 2 alive. And now the Hussars coming in on top of this has some Cav Archers to handle it. But it looks like the Ottoman player, Black Thought, is getting pushed back here. And his eco is not as prepared. He has got 2 factories down. But basically, he had a huge mass, but it seemed like it was fueled from 9 and 8 cavalry archers and indeed all these other military shipments. And now that, you know, he had that big push in the middle of the map, he was gaining a lot of ground. I think that's what he needed, what he wanted to get some work done and start winning the game. But Diktator's held. He's doing okay. He's stabilized. He might have had some troubles training Cav earlier. But whilst all these military unit shipments were coming, behind this he sent boyars, refrigeration, Cav combat, improved buildings. And just getting that longer and longer term upgrade. And now standing on top of these mills and clearly will soon be pushing in and has won it. And there you have it. Deathmatch. The very first game picked up by Diktator there. Was not a free win after all. Perhaps I shouldn't take them so seriously. But I'm really interested to see a deathmatch that goes all the way to... Basically, they run out of resources and it comes down to like setting up their economies and stuff. But it seemed like Diktator had just done that better. He had more upgrades and things like that. But maybe this is just how the matchup plays out. I really have no idea. But that's the end of that. Let's get on out into game number 2. And Kaiser will now be joining me. He's online. And hopefully we can muddle through this together. Oh, hello. Can we go back? Oh, thank you. Okay. Welcome, welcome.
Well, hi.
Well, hi. No, that's Gibson. I'm Interjection.
Oh, I got confused. My bad.
All right, you got me there. That was a good joke. Well done.
I need to create a deathmatch home city.
Yeah, that's what it told me as well. I tried joining their game and it was like, nah. It's like, you don't have a deathmatch city. You can't join. I love how it like literally won't let you join unless you have a city. A specific deathmatch city.
It's like the game is calling you a PR0 at deathmatch. You can't even join, you're too bad.
Exactly.
I just created one. Wait.
I'm pleased you're here. It was actually, I was watching it back. It was, well, I was watching it back. I was watching it. It's actually very, I really think Deathmatch, if you know the meta, could be a really interesting thing to watch. I've heard that they're either very quick, sort of like about 10 minutes, or they're very long, like 30, 40 minutes. So I'm thinking a best of 9, we might get a good example of like a really long deathmatch, but I think most of them will be short ones. I'm looking forward to that. But we just saw Ottoman versus Russia, and by the looks of it, those civs seem to be the strong ones, because Black Thought is now taking Russia.
Yeah.
How familiar are you with Deathmatch? Because the very first card they sent was Team Fencing School and Riding School, and I was just like, okay, of course it is.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I've played some Deathmatch, even if I don't have a home city on my main account. I played some Deathmatch on some other account. Played quite a few games actually against CometK, and I won some of them also because I was playing Germany, which is considered to be the best civ in Deathmatch. But I mean, I'm familiar enough that I can challenge these kind of guys, although they usually beat me. But I play only Germany and maybe a bit of Brits, so I don't really know most of the matchups. Like I know almost no matchup, rather I should say.
Yeah, well,
but I know how it works overall, so I can maybe enlighten you a little bit.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope so. I mean, it'll be difficult to know less about Deathmatch than me, basically. I've seen a few games on YouTube, and I just thought, like, oh, this is cool. Look, they're spamming building downs everywhere, and it's, you know, very exciting. But aside from that, like, it's not like Supremacy, where you and I, especially you, just know sort of what's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 minutes, sort of at all times.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It'll be harder to get inside their minds and say, oh, they're doing this rather than that, because we don't know what is better than the other options and what those options were even to begin with. So, but it should be fine. I mean, I felt like the first game went quite well in terms of commentary. I was just saying words, and that's what you need to do. So let's get into it. Game number 2. So we originally were going to do this. Go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say originally we were going to do this with Mongo. But Kaiser has been drafted in, so we're very grateful to Kaiser. Mongo knows his stuff in Deathmatch, I'm told, but he can't be here today. But either way, game number 2. Let's see how this series goes. I'm excited to see some Deathmatch. Let's do it.
Yeah. So basically, Deathmatch is kind of similar to Treaty, except you have to set up your base and boom as well at the same time, and manage your resources, which are much less infinite than
Oh, did you see Diktator's base?
Yeah.
How did he do that? How did he do that? There's just foundations everywhere. Oh my goodness.
Diktator got a lot of APM, and yeah, he just smashed down the stuff. So first you go for a church, you get the mercantilism, so that you can get your first shipments in really quickly.
Yeah, it gives you 5
get like 4
immediately.
or 5 shipments. You need to spam houses, and you need to make a stable, because Cav usually trains faster thanks to the church upgrade, and you can ship your riding school first. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So people open with dragoons usually, but it looks like Russia with the fast infantry stuff is gonna open with infantry, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, he gets instant training infantry. And remember, this is ESOC patch, right? I think most of the reason they were Minutemen coming in, there's a factory wagon there. That would be very funny to watch if that went down. Does kill a villager though, and that's just being really pesky and annoying because it's going to delay these foundations. Sort of makes a lot of sense. But remember, on EP, riding school isn't as good as it is on RE patch, and in the previous game, CometK, or Diktator rather, mentioned he wasn't used to slow training Cav. So that's what he means. Like, the effectiveness of riding school is not as good.
But it's also because you mostly play Treaty on Andes, where you have the Inca, and then your Cav trains instantly. Regardless of the nerf, I think. So it's probably a mix of both of these facts. So Russia is pushing forward with forts. So yeah, it's kind of a different mechanic compared to massives. And it's going heavy on musketeers, apparently. I'm going to fix my sound because I think it's way too loud and you might hear it.
Okay, I've not heard anything yet, but I'll just finish your point. Yes, starting with musketeers. And that's mostly because Sevastopol has been sent, as we saw in the previous game, which enables the musketeers to build a fort. And when the fort is destroyed, they can rebuild it. And if you send fort wagons, that also adds to the build limit. And if that fort gets destroyed, you can also build that. So starting with sort of muskets, and then following it up with strelets as needed, it seems here. But 2 heavy cannons coming out as one of the first early shipments here. And that's going to force Russia back. They're going to need some cavalry to handle that.
So it's kind of forcing Diktator to ship units, which is never ideal in this kind of game mode. But it's at the same time, it's buying Diktator lots of time. Boya's coming in for Russia, so he's just stacking some upgrades. Basically, you want your factories, your fast training shipments, and then the most important unit upgrades, and that's how you begin playing in Deathmatch. We have a fort down there and really close to the factories, so it's gonna force CometK to react there. He has to split and defend because he can't afford to lose his factories.
Yeah, God, this is like Treaty, but like faster.
Yeah, way faster, honestly way harder. I played boss, and all the heavies are popping right into the Cav, and they're gonna die. Actually, sort of.
Look at them, they're sort of wiggling and died.
That's stupid, but yeah, okay, they're dead. Well, anyway, when he didn't expect them to be alive when he popped them right into Cav, right? So
yeah, well, here comes 4 culverins. I said he needed something to handle the heavy artillery, which currently are distracted by this fort, as you mentioned. Is going to take that fort down. And this is an interesting map because these walls and chokes are just getting blocked off sort of immediately. You don't want people sneaking through and then destroying like your factories and infrastructure and stuff. But it does now have those 5 culverins, and that's going to make artillery sort of a bit awkward to train for Diktator.
Yeah, and it's like forts have to be really careful because from that fort, Diktator could have trained upgrades. In fact, he trained nothing, so he just forced Diktator. I mean, CometK forced Diktator to react to the fort on the side because he could train upgrades from it. And another thing we have to keep in mind in the water, in Deathmatch, usually you have too much wood because you have 20k of each resource, and obviously your units don't really cost that much wood. Yeah. So you have too much wood, and going water is a nice way to invest your wood and get food out of it, basically.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. And that you just spare wood, spend it on something. But 30 2P allies coming in as well. And remember, these have got all the guard upgrades. That can be sent sort of infinite times. So that's a really good shipment for ports.
Sorry to catch you, but he targeted one factory just there.
Yeah, he did. Hot damn, that's really strong.
He didn't actually see the...
And there's just Cavs running around his base too, being really pesky.
Yeah, that's annoying. And also pushing back in the main fight. It looks pretty good for Diktator at this point.
2 heavy cannons arrive. That's the second batch. And the same thing is going to happen. Only 1 volley. Both, like, Russia can send 2 heavy cannons twice. They've got that in their deck twice. And both times it's been sort of beaten down real fast. And now looks like Black Thor, aka CometK, has lost his forward fort and is trying to get his artillery out of there. I think trying to pull the culverins away. He's basically lost the forward fight and he's going to have to rebuild. And with a factory down as well, and still cavalry running his eco ragged, starting to train even halbs just to defend at home. Remember, they have the speed upgrade from the advanced arsenal. So they're actually pretty fast.
And I just want to say that it's very easy to lose control of the game when you play Deathmatch because it's so fast, there's so much stuff going on, and it looks like you have a ton of resources, but in fact it's not a ton. You see, it's 5 minutes in game and Black Sword already has no resources, so it snowballs really quickly. And then once you're out of resources, you have to sit in base and defend, and it's really hard because you have no eco. You start with like 5 bills, so...
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a regular sub where you have 5 bills, but it's age 1 and you're just doing your stuff. Here you have like a really bad eco and you need to respam to defend. So that's why they both have unit shipments in deck, because sometimes you really need, even if it sounds ridiculous when you start with 60k resources to ship like 8 Hus or something, in fact, it can make a difference.
Yeah, I got that impression from the previous game as well. The resources ran out quickly, and like in Ordinary Supremacy, it's all about sort of unit control, having an army and getting kills and that kind of thing. You just sort of keeps you afloat, having more shipments. You can stay in that fight longer before you sort of have to transition to, building an eco. You just don't have an eco in Deathmatch. But looks like though he's back on his feet. He's got a ton of artillery now.
Yeah, and I think that's because he drained a lot of food, because obviously musketeers and straight hats cost so much food. So he kind of has to go artillery because it's good for his macro. It's same for the forts, they cost wood and gold, and he can't make too many food units. So he's just gonna try to make as much cannons as possible and defend them with these musketeers. That's basically the plan to stay in the game, because if he has to keep making, like, I don't know, Cossacks or whatever, like he's not gonna have the food for it.
Yeah, so
and he's also, Black Sword is also water booming, just like Diktator, because they really need the food right now. Yeah,
and a couple of monitors there as well, which is interesting. It looks like, though, Teal is a bit further ahead on the boom than Red is. Has more fishing ships there. But, yes, trying to just get an eco. And I think we might see a bit of a longer game here. It seems that this one's a bit more balanced than previously. Lots of...
Black Sword lost the factory, so if it goes to late game, he's going to be constantly behind. Unless he can kill a factory himself. That's a big problem here, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely something he needs to do. But it'll be really hard given that these passages are blocked up, and the only way really into your opponent's base is to go through the middle where the main fight is happening. So I don't think he's going to be able to do that. There's just not an entrance to be able to. And now Cav starting to stream into this fight is going to make a few musketeers. Thankfully they train instantly to defend his artillery here. But those organ guns, heavy cannons, horse artillery rather, God, are going to be threatened unless he can make some musks. Diktator is making ground.
And it's also down to culverin control. That's when it rejoins treaty a lot. Whoever can have the best culverin micro will win the culverin trades and end up having, well, culverins, obviously, while his opponent will not have any more culverins. So you can't keep pushing if your artillery just gets sniped all the time. So that's why they're microing hard. And yeah, it's gonna be, it's quite close, but I don't know enough about Deathmatch to say who is gonna be ahead in late game, but the factory is just really set for Black Thought. One thing I want to mention as well is that monitors are also one way to spend your wood, and Diktator made 2 of them, but they're not super useful. They're just kind of like making sure there's no buildings on his side. But if you get to build monitors like here, on the other, like in your opponent's water, then you can wreak havoc in his town.
Yeah, but the trouble is getting boats on that side of the water, I suppose. And now it looks like CometK is really low on gold, actually. He's got, he's one factory down and 46 vils on food. I don't think he's got any plantations, and without any coin income at all, he's just not able to train really any units. And now the last of his horse artillery dwindling away here.
Yeah, he's also got his only factory on food, sadly. You also have to macro your factories a lot in Deathmatch, like switch them to the resource you need. In SUP, usually you set them to wood because it's the most efficient, but in Deathmatch, obviously, you don't really want to have more than 20k wood most of the time, so you don't really keep your factory on wood.
Yeah.
What else can we say about this? Well, Diktator is also pretty low in resources, but it just feels like his macro is better. Like he's got a decent ratio of bills on food and gold. Although Black Sword is now, he does have 20 bills on coin. I'm not sure if that's fishing boats. Yeah, I think it's mostly fishing boats and ways. And some bills on the coin mine here, because you unlike Treaty, you do use your natural resources at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's just faster. So yeah, the fight keeps going.
And now sort of Strelets
pull back. The Strelets are just really annoying to deal with because they're like double carded. I mean, they got.
Yeah, they're insane. They've got 157 HP. Holy shit, they got 157 HP. The Cazador has 183. That's like only marginally more, and the Cazador is like a fully expensive, skirmisher style unit.
Yeah, they do have more attack and more range and more.
Yeah, more of everything else.
How do you call it? Resist? I mean, range resist.
Yeah.
But yeah, Strats are just more efficient. Although Cazadors are really strong because they scale from H3 stats. So every upgrade is like 20% better, in fact. And they do have 3 cards on them plus the Advanced Arsenal, which you start with. You already have all Advanced Arsenal upgrades researched in Deathmatch.
Yeah.
Because it's post-industrial. So yeah, but it's really a close game, in fact. And that fort is slowly going down, and it's a big deal. Like he needs to. Diktator really wants his fort to go down.
Range finding coming in. I think Diktator will easily get the fort down now with 10 extra range on those mortars. That's going to be quite easy to siege really anything at all. And now with all those really strong late game sort of Portuguese upgrades, I'm thinking the Portuguese player is in a position to. Is in a really good spot right now, and it looks like he's mostly gaining ground. Black Thought's holding his own, but remember, we sort of started over here with forward forts, and Diktator since has just sort of pushed back. He's kept pushing, he's still pushing, and has a factory advantage as well, so he's going to be stronger economically.
Yeah. Despite the factory, somehow Russia is ahead in eco, though, just probably because he's got 3 TCs, and there's no way to boom faster than 3 Russian TCs, right?
Yeah, Russian TCs make Vils quicker than normal TCs, right? But still, looks like gaining ground. Diktator is pushing forward. He's got Cav to handle the Strelets here, and just so much artillery in the back as well. Those range-finding mortars just dumping on the buildings. And it's not much room left for CometK. He needs to really start winning and start pushing back in the other direction. He's not got much room left to sort of keep walking back into.
Yeah, definitely. And he needs to deal with this massive artillery from Diktator. He's done it. Look at that volley now. He's just killed 2 horse artillery. So there's no artillery on the field for Black Sword, basically. While Diktator has a nice mass of them. So.
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, three organ guns. Culverins do come out though, and he is able to take down, I think, the Culverins of Teal. But still, there's just more Teal stuff. But Diktator, look at his resource pile. He's basically got no resources left. So this looks like a good push from him, but he's about to sort of run out. Whereas Black Thought, he's got 2k food banked.
Yeah, but he's been like that the whole time, kind of.
Okay, so he's just doing a good job of spending down.
Yeah, this is like late game Treaty. When you come to late game in Treaty, when the game starts to be like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something, you have no resources, and you're like that, except you got a bit more eco. But then the skill you need to have is like controlling your units in such a way that you always stay as close as possible to 200 pop. As you can see, Diktator is doing a really good job of that. Like, you see he's got no resources, but he's max pop.
Yeah.
So it's no problem. You know, if he can keep being max pop and just controlling his artillery well and stuff,
you're just going to win fights. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how little resources is floating. So
that's true.
And yeah, Black Sword is getting the GG. He's not able to keep up the 200 pop. You see, he's at 150. So that's going to be GG.
And I feel like deathmatch games are just as quick as Supremacy games, it seems, some of the time. But Diktator taking a quick lead, 2-0 so far in this series.
Potentially even faster. If one player makes mistakes early on, the game can literally be over in like 3 minutes. If you just really fail at the start and your opponent starts flooding units in your base, you lost.
Yeah.
So, but these players are pretty good. So this is probably not going to happen. But we might have maybe one game where one player makes, you know, a big mistake and then it's over at 3 minutes. Like that is totally possible in deathmatch. So
yeah. Oh, this is fun. This is exciting. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a change of pace from Supremacy. I think in Supremacy, mills and plantations, you see them so rarely, but in Deathmatch, we're going to see them all the time. Oh dear. Yeah. All right, the next map will be New England. And Diktator, he cannot play Germany. Pardon me, he cannot play Russia, and he cannot play Portuguese. But Germany is a civ he still can play, and you're saying that that's one of the stronger civs, apparently, in Deathmatch. So I'm surprised they didn't both sort of open with it. Or maybe they've agreed not to play it because it's really, really strong or something.
Which ship? Did you say Germany or?
Yeah, Germany.
Yeah, it's it kind of depends, I guess, on the type of map. I don't really expect them to play Germany and New England because I think it's a bit like in sub. You could see Otto, because Otto makes lots of Abus guns, and Abus guns, especially after upgrades, would totally wreck the warships in the pawns. But Germany overall, it's just, you know, you got that card that lets you train settler wagons from mills. So you can boom really quickly and for cheap. So you just get ahead in eco really fast as Germany, thanks to that German town farmer or whatever it's called.
Oh, is that the reason they're OP? Huh.
It's one of the reasons. The other reasons are that obviously and like in SUP, you just spam your shipments faster and you just get so many extra uhlans, obviously, you know. So that's another reason. You just get so many resources from these big H4 shipments, like all these extra uhlans you get. And then war wagons are just pretty strong when they get upgraded because they also scale from H3 stats. So they're unlike in SUP where they're pretty bad, in Deathmatch war wagons are actually quite strong. But anyway, we do see an auto mirror, so it looks like the plan is indeed to make Abus guns to control the pawns.
All right. Tato coming in with a 124 viewer host. Thank you very much, Tato. I saw you streaming the ECL earlier. Hope it went well. I don't know what has happened, but hope it went well. Welcome, everybody. What are we streaming here? This is Age of Empires 3, clearly. And I'm pleased Tato hosted us, actually, because Tato, for those that don't know, is one of the few, I think, Age of Empires 2 pros, we'll call him a pro, that has streamed Age 3 in the past. So I hope to see him doing more of that. I'd be really interested to see. I think even he may have signed up for a tournament once. I'm not sure if that's true. Don't quote me. He has. Okay. But yes, thank you for the host. Everyone joining. What are we doing here? This is Deathmatch. And immediately from the start of the game, you start, well, everyone knows what Deathmatch is, but things are fast-paced. And we thought we'd try it out in H3 because it is actually still quite a fun game mode. Not what we usually do, but yes, that is what we're doing today, I suppose. Spawning on the top of the map in the color teal, we do indeed have Diktator playing as the Ottomans here, spamming houses absolutely everywhere, as you can expect in Deathmatch. Their first shipments will be coming in any second now. Of course, mercantilism is the first thing you research here to get that extra XP. And it looks like Riding School going to be coming out from both players to get that fast training cavalry. And that's just how it rolls in Deathmatch. You start with upgrades, training speed upgrades, which is wonderful. And immediately from the start of the game. Oh, and look at that, mirror builds. Behind it, we see engineering school as well for the fast training Abus guns and indeed the falconets as well. But looks like we're going to see the veteran cat. Well, they're not veteran, they're actually guard. They are guard. They've got guard stats. For some reason, Deathmatch doesn't update the names. But immediately, cavalry archers going to be entering the battlefield. And I'm sure behind this, we'll see Abus guns guns as well. Immediately, players, or at least Black Thought, is taking water control with the docks there before the Abyss gun mass gets too high to control it. But interesting deviations from the very beginning, Kaiser. It looks like Black Thought going to squeeze Cav Combat in there before he gets his 2 factories in, just to have a better fight in the middle of the map in this early Cav Archer war.
Yeah. It's like you kind of want Abyss guns in Ottomans because they're so strong, but you have to start with Cav because the training time of Abyss guns is just way too slow. It looks like Black Sword just wanted to be more aggressive, getting Cav Combat in, but it's not a huge deal. As you can see, they bossed.
Yeah, they've now both got it right. So it's like it was like active for 30 seconds before.
It's almost mirrored. We have to say also that in Deathmatch come in 10 seconds and not 40.
Really?
So, yeah, as you can see, look
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Huh.
Yeah, now we got Abyss in the mix. We got a monitor, and Diktator is also gonna add a dock, and they both got at least 1 TC next to the pawn. We see Black Sword is already water booming in the bottom, and it feels to me like Black Sword was just maybe a little bit faster to do everything this game. Like he took control of his pawn faster, he's water booming earlier. He's making towers already. Diktator has only 1 tower. It feels to me like Black Sword was maybe a little bit faster, but we'll see.
Yep, but 2 great bombards now coming in from Diktator, and this is another deviation in the build, it seems, just to get, I guess he feels like he's fallen behind a little bit, and in Deathmatch it seems that if you feel like that's happening, you send a military shipment to just catch back up, but either way, heavy cannons, or great bombards rather, really strong here, but as a response to them, we see the Monitor using its special ability on the great bombards, taking them down quickly, and indeed the Lifeguard Hussar, or rather Gardner Hussar, actually now coming in as well, gonna try and finish those great bombards off. He really needs to get them down. They're a real big issue to, they're very strong against Abyss guns here. He can't get too close. He's going to try and get back, but does go down to the Monitor fire there. Interesting card, actually, Kaiser. We now see extensive fortifications coming in, which I believe just improves the build limit of the towers.
As well as the HP, I believe. I think it's 25% HP, but yeah, it's mostly for the build limit. Again, one way to spend your wood in Deathmatch
Galley Rush
is to make towers. So, and they're really strong with your trades. Like they do splash damage and stuff. Oh, and we got 4 galleys.
4 galleys coming out. Yeah, and they're just going to try and take control of the water by the looks of it before any kind of water presence has occurred. I think Black Thought has just rallied them into his opponent's water, expecting fishing ships or something. And it's going to be there for the time being. He's clearly quite busy in the middle of the map here, but he's going to be able to take down this dock and secure the water before Diktator can really do anything. And to get back the water control, Diktator's going to need a bunch of outposts on his coast, which he just doesn't have. So if that pays off for Black Thought, it's going to be really good. But he's having a few problems back home. It's a massive Abyss guns, and there's a bunch of hussars on top of them, and this is
more Abyss going out. Like
how do you respond to hussars? More Abyss guns, of course.
Yeah, that's fine. And the boats are gonna tank. They will die to Abyss, but they're gonna tank, and meanwhile Black Sword's Abyss guns can shoot. So it's a very fortified position for Black Sword here. He's got so many towers and more going up, or well, not going up, but and some warships and stuff. So if he can totally shut down the water, which he probably will when he realizes that he's got AFK galleys, and he does.
They're moving now. They're coming to the coast. They're going to handle the great bombards. I like this use from them.
Yeah, that's fine. And if he can shut down the water, and then water boom and just sit in this choke here with all his towers and stuff and just start water booming, then he's just gonna be ahead, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like it's maybe the plan here. They boss drain their gold so fast though, obviously.
And GG being called there. I guess the water control is really strong. Starting to get TPs in now as well. And it just feels like CometK is gaining ground. And now that basically the gold's run out, Diktator just thinks well, I've lost this fight. I can't really come back from here. I can't retrain my army. And a really fast and dirty 5-minute 30 deathmatch game here. Black Thought picking up his first victory in the series.
Yeah, I think it's really down to the fact that in Ottomans, as you can see, you want to spam lots of Abyss guns because they're just OP. And well, CometK has got 61 Abyss out, while Diktator has 16. 15, sorry. So when they boss have no gold and no eco, they have no way to respam quickly. So basically, this mass of 60 Abuscans is never going to be challenged. Like, there's no way Dictator can ever kill all these Abuscans now. He's just way too far behind in the Abus count. I'm not sure why. I guess CometK just got some good trades. It has to be why. He just got good trades and he's got more Abus, and so he wins.
Yeah, I'm looking at the military unit count, and unlike in Supremacy, where you can see the big fights, in Deathmatch you just can't. It's just like units constantly in there, I guess basically like you can't see on the graph because they're always going to be close to 200 pop, but and bad trades don't appear on the graph, right? Like because you just replace your units quickly.
That's true, yeah. That's true, but you can see at 4 minutes 45 that CometK got a big batch of Abuscans popping, like just before 5 minutes, while Dictator was losing his units. And then you see at the end that at some point Black Sword just got really ahead in military, and it was really close to Dictator resigning. Like 30 seconds later, Dictator just resigned.
Yeah, and
you
hot damn.
Probably see the trades, but yeah, you can see that.
Damn, this is fast. This is dirty.
And actually, Dictator outgathered Black Sword by quite a bit. He's got 2k5 more resources gathered, which doesn't matter that much, but somehow I guess I don't know how he had outgathered, but he just got really bad trades, I believe, and
yeah.
So
that's the thing. I didn't even bother checking the resource graph. I just felt like that game was decided by units. Well, it was decided by units, but it's interesting that Dick also had, a little bit more eco setup behind it. I guess it didn't really matter in the end, but clearly was getting ready to go into that late game. The next map will be Thar Desert, though, and I believe Dictator still... No, neither player has Otto anymore. I think they've both won with the Ottoman. Black Thought locked Iroquoise, he says. Let's see what Dictator picks in response. The next map will be Thar Desert.
But game one, didn't Otto win game one against Russia? Or did Russia actually win?
Yeah, it was Russia that won. So actually, yeah, okay, Dictator still has Otto. So
Dictator has lost twice with Otto. I think it's worth saying that from my experience, the main theme of Black Sword in Deathmatch, I think, is Otto. It's quite strong. It's actually quite strong in Deathmatch, and he's played a lot of Otto against me at some points. So maybe that's why he won that mirror. And Dictator is not very successful with Otto so far.
Yep, third time's the charm. But still, it appears that he's going to stick with it. Is Jer allowed, by the way? Well, I've got no rules against it.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure because indeed no one's picking it. So, I need to change my color.
No one's picking it yet. There's plenty of games left, but it is for sure a strong civ. Well, according to yourself. But yes, they can only play it once, though, right? That's the way this civ. It's the same rules as the New World Championship. So, Germany. Yeah. Like it's kind of nice because all the strong civs you can play, but only once, which is kind of seems fair.
Yeah, and I feel like Germany is even stronger on EP in Deathmatch because Uhlans are weaker, but they have that H4 upgrade, the Lipizan cavalry or whatever. It's buffed 25% instead of 15, and they got better DOPs as well, so they just got even stronger units.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know if you want to introduce the players. We don't really even have time for it in Deathmatch, I feel like.
No, it's like you just don't even bother. In Deathmatch, you just say, okay, red is starting with the Tomahawk big buttons, all three of the big buttons. And there they are. The Tomahawk's just going to go right into the... just going to start this. You call your Minutemen just immediately in this game mode just to harass the villagers and slow them down. And here it's just even stronger. That's something Iroquois have by the looks of it, but I don't think they have mercantilism. But what they do have is a very similar upgrade called a New Year Festival, which I think is only 1,000 XP, but still is going to give them the big quick boost. And interestingly, going to start off with battlefield construction cards. So the infantry can now construct things, and as you can see, that's exactly what they're doing.
That's how you play hero. You play hero by going really heavy on light cannons and tomahawks in Deathmatch, because light cannons cost a lot of gold, and tomahawks cost food and wood, so it's just balanced, and it's just a very strong unit composition because light cannons are sort of coverings but falconet at the same time. So it's just
yeah,
good. It's just
that
good,
makes
and
sense.
they
Makes
also
them.
got a card that makes them cost one less pop, I believe. The light cannons, yeah, one less pop for the light cannons, I think. So it's only 2 pop instead of 3 or something, or 3 instead of 4. I'm not sure. So you can spam so many light cannons. Like you will laugh, I think, because I don't know how much
Oh my
Valia you'll
god,
be free.
there's so many
It's
already.
actually crazy. But you see like so much. No Civ
Siege.
makes as much
Hot.
artillery as Hero. It's insane. They make like sometimes 30 or 40 light cannons. Really, it's crazy.
Yeah, it seems. Let's take a look at these cards. Already sent Siege Discipline and Siege Combat. Let's just refresh ourselves on what they do for anyone that's not sure. Siege Combat, rams, cannons, 15% extra all action damages, including not just Siege. And Siege Discipline, all Siege Workshop troops cost less population, as Kaiser was saying there. So these are now 3-pop cannons, which is really, really good, actually. And remember,
Yeah.
Iroquois have the advantage in a sense. I don't know if you were saying this earlier, but obviously their cannons cost gold, 300 gold, which is how they're going to spend their gold. But the tomahawks and a lot of the other units cost wood, so that wood that's usually not so relevant in Deathmatch, Iroquois can spend it, which is going to keep them going a bit longer in the game.
Although you have to actually be careful for once. You see his wood count is already dropped to 5k wood. So he has no factories also, which is a big drawback in this match. Because factories early on are like more than half of your eco in that match. So, and also we need to keep in mind that Avis guns are insane against artillery. So I feel like this matchup is maybe quite good for Otto. And did Diktator counterpick with Otto? I think he did,
yeah,
right?
he did, for sure.
Like, yeah, so that's why. Now you see why. Because despite having this insane unit composition of tomahawks and light cannons, well, Otto doesn't really care. He just makes lots of Avis and it counters pretty much everything. So
12 Abyss coming in, really massing up the Abyss guns now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, it feels like Ottoman's absolutely dominating here. The resource pile of Black Thought is just nothing. Like, it's dropped so quickly. Dictator still has 7,000 food, and is still looking pretty good on resources. So something's going well for him. And I think this is just a counter pick. Like, it basically... Black Thought, aka CometK, he did not seem overly pleased when Iroquois was...
Yeah.
Sorry, when... Yeah.
Just look at the scores. It's kind of normal because native civs always have less score when they are fully teched, let's say. But still, I think this is a really big gap because Black Thought has drained much more resources. Even though they don't matter too much, Dictator is still sitting on 12,000 wood. He can sell some of it if he really needs, or he can just use it to build stuff like towers or anything. So, and on top of that, he's still got enough, like he's just max pop, and he's got still 1k5 gold, which is a little bit of gold. So,
in fact, he's overpopped using Tufano Corpse and Topo Corpse for the Janissaries, and which is another way to spend the wood as Ottoman, actually. I think the Janissary one costs wood. I'm not sure about the Great Bombard one. I think that's food.
Yeah, one of them costs wood and the other food for sure.
The advanced church upgrades there. But Iroquois now pushed all the way back to their siege workshops and indeed war huts as well. And Black Thought losing a lot of ground here.
Oh, and it looks like... I'm afraid to say something stupid. But it looks like Euro doesn't have the advanced upgrade. They do have a card called New Ways, which is the equivalent, and I don't know, maybe you have to ship it? I'm not sure.
Oh, that makes their units kind of rubbish. That's a shame.
But I don't know, because Tomahawks are not really gunpowder units, so maybe that's why they don't get upgraded from... I don't know, maybe if he made Forest Brawlers, we would see some upgrades, but yeah, the Abyss gun's just like dominating totally the Hero player, and this is kind of funny because in SUP as well, Hero has lots of trouble dealing with Abyss guns early on, so it's kind of funny. So just a good counter pick here from Dictator, I think.
Yeah.
Very convincing win in this game.
I think that's just Otto. It just seems like such a strong Civ, and Iroquois just couldn't handle it. They just don't have the tools to deal with it. It's just a silly matchup.
Yeah,
would be my
think
assessment. I mean, I really don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Hero, from my experience in Deathmatch, is rather strong. But this specific matchup is pretty bad, I think. Just by design, just the fact that Abyss can totally dominate this unit composition. And if you go for forest brawlers, I guess for some reason it doesn't work because he didn't do it. So I guess they just die to Abyss guns anyway, and then you drain your gold even faster and something like that. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but now it's up to Diktator to pick first, right?
Yep, that will be the case. Yeah, on Deccan. That's right. Yeah, they're Gaia. They don't belong to you, so they will spawn. And
I think they're maybe kind of annoying actually because
you can't place the foundations.
Yeah, you want to just spam buildings, man, and like there's these retarded crates just like blocking everything, and I don't know. I guess it will gather them, but not at start because I didn't say that, but every single villager matters early on because you need to build so much stuff, and you can't like set one build to gather the crates. It's just not possible. So we'll see. I guess they pick up the crates later on.
I think like overall having the crates is still better than not having them, but you are right. At the start of the game, it's going to be annoying to like have to pick them up. But yeah, at some point they'll be picked up. But yeah, crates not the most. I think like just a minor feature almost of this map now because like crates in Supremacy, they're just so important. Like, but here. Who cares? In fact, they're annoying, as we're saying. But remember, this is still Deccan. We've got the plateau and those choky entrances to the plateau, and indeed those trading posts on either side of the map as well. So that will certainly be interesting, and we'll see how the trade affects this game. But I think Deccan is going to be... I think it's quite an interesting map to watch these sort of... will be an interesting match to watch Deathmatch on.
Yeah, it's also a treaty map, and in treaty it plays out differently. There's three things I want to say about this map. First, the stagecoach is going to be important because you don't have that much eco in Deathmatch, so stagecoach is a big boost. Second thing I want to say, it's going to be really good for Germany because he can camp. He can wall up and just turtle and go for his mill boom probably. And the third thing is that because of the chokes and all the stuff, yeah, we will see a big artillery fest, I think. It's going to be lots of cannons. In treaty, it's also like that. On Deccan, I think you see lots of cannons. And ports are known to be really good on Deccan because they have 50 range mortars and they can shoot from behind the cliffs. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, with their range finding upgrade, they can get in some incredible range on those units. That's absolutely for sure. But Minutemen now coming across the map, and it seems like on this map they will see each other. But I think it might be best to just ignore your opponent's Minutemen. No, they are going to fight each other. I feel like they might just walk past and go try and kill villagers, but they're going to have a Minutemen fight in the middle. That's probably a relatively minor thing, though. Portuguese player now starting to build his houses, and is going to start with stables and riding school there. So we'll see, I'm sure, units hitting the board any second now. He just needs to get more houses down for that to work. And followed up by Palatine settlements from Diktator, who also opened with riding school here. So that's interesting. It basically, it's like 1,000 wood shipment. And it's much quicker.
It's more like to speed up your build. I forgot to say that when I said Germany P, you just get so much pop space. So sometimes you don't ship it if you don't plan on being aggressive. But like it's just, you instantly get your 200 pop and you can start spamming units. So it's a good card for. Yeah,
you gain a lot of ground very quickly just because you can have units out super fast. But looks like we're just going to see a ranged cavalry war here, and the Portuguese are going to win that. They've got Dragoon combat already in, and Dragoons are just much more efficient when you have a Dragoon war because, they have a ranged resist and war wagons don't.
Overall, yeah, but then again here, like war wagons just scale much better because they from H3 stats. And also it's EP, and they have only 20% range resist, the Dragoons, I mean. But yeah, I think Ginets are still stronger, of course, but it's closer than it feels. And Diktator is switching to skirms already.
Yeah, he's got his fencing school out, and barracks is starting to come down.
Oh my god, so many Dragoons. 78 Dragoons on the field. This is ridiculous. And
70,
Yeah, no
73
real boom
filthy
yet
dragoons.
for Germany. He's just investing fully in units. Like, looks like Germany really wants a map control. He slammed down so many towers, even though they're not going up. But it feels like Germany really wants to push this, and
he's
it's
drained
so
his food pile. He's now only got 5k food left, starting from 20k. But he's definitely got the map control. He's got just more units here now. It seems. Although 2 heavy cannons from blue coming out, trying to bring some war wagons forward to sort of handle them.
And he's got the composition advantage because he's got skirms while Pods has only cav. So he's got the unit composition advantage and shipping the meal card behind it. So
yeah,
now you're gonna see some settler wagon spam.
So now the mills can construct villages, or more specifically settler wagons, and that just means he's got like 4 TCs right there, which is really, really nice for him. And settler wagons, training them is very, very efficient. But now those Portuguese, very strong industrial age upgrades coming in: gunpowder infantry combat and gunpowder infantry attack.
Yeah, but he's so behind in this skirmisher count. Although now he's starting to catch up, but you know, I think Germany got really good trades in the last 30 seconds or 1 minute, because now Ports is also drained. Like, their boss basically drained. But what I dislike is that Diktator, in fact, he forgot about his towers. While CometK got a bunch of towers, and it's gonna be very hard for Diktator to push in these towers. They do so much damage, especially against cav. So, but he does have 2 heavy cannons, while the Portuguese heavy cannons are dead already.
Yeah, it seems really important. Like, whilst you're draining your food and resources, as those resources are going down, to get those towers up quickly, because they're not just outposts; they're fortified, bombard outposts, right? So, like, whilst you've got your units and whilst they're there before the drain sort of ends, you want to get them down quickly.
Yeah, they're just really, really good. Like, it's an insane way to spend your wood.
Best coming out from the advanced church. That's interesting. He's gonna have guard crossbowmen now, and that's a really interesting way to spend the food. To spend the wood.
Yeah. Again, that's why you ship it, because it's Black Raiders and crossbows. I mean, besteros. They cost food.
They cost food and wood, the common theme is that you have, you know, spare wood, or always like too much wood. So a unit that's only 40 food each and costs a resource that you have too much of wood is really, really strong. And guard crossbowmen, aka Besterios, are almost as good as the Cassadors, although they don't benefit from the industrial age upgrades he sent, I suppose. But
yeah,
still,
you don't really want to train too many crossbows, but if he really needs, he can. Like, if he's really low on gold and he's got his wood, he can still make the besteros, like, train them. So yeah, it's good. But okay, now Portuguese is forced to pull back, and if you look at the graphs, it seems very one-sided, and I think Diktator has got this game. And you see the power of Germany there. Just look at this boom. Like, he's so ahead in eco already.
Yes, 71 vils.
Yeah, so
just pumping them out.
And their boss, like, they got no resources, but it doesn't matter for Diktator because he's got much more eco, and he's gonna be able to remass much faster than CometK. And and he still has this big German unit shipment, some of them with the free Uhlans. You know, at this point when no one has getting 3 or 4 free Uhlans with a shipment is just nice.
Yeah, it's just, you know, so much extra resources that just enter the game every time you send a shipment. And these towers that were, you know, keeping Black Thought in the game here, slowly or quickly now going down to all this artillery, mortars mixed in here, really, really strong siege attack. Only 2 towers left, and Black Thought fighting basically on the edge of his base now.
Yeah. And Diktator is taking his time. He knows he's got more eco because it's how it goes in this matchup. So he's just mortaring down the buildings really carefully, not overcommitting, not going under the tower too much, just like sieging down the stuff and sitting on his superior eco. Now,
Guild Artisans coming in now as well, Kaiser.
Yeah, that upgrade is insane. I think it's 35%. And on 20 settler wagons, I did the math before, it's almost worth 1 factory. when you have 20 settler wagons and you ship that, it's like a factory.
Hot damn.
Because it's 40 bills and you get 35% on 40 bills, which is more than 10 bills, so it's like a factory.
Yeah.
It's just really good.
That's and you already get 2 factories anyway as Germany, right? So that seems really, really nice. But it looks like Black Thought, he has gotten out some more dragoons now, and with his horse artillery is sort of kiting back away from those culverins. These, so he's sort of holding his ground for the time being, but he's not a lot of resources for either player, and I think the German eco he's just going to outmass him now, even if he has held that initial 20k resource, you know, fight in the middle. It's now coming down to the economies, and Germany is much better positioned.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he's holding his ground, but you would like to be pushing as ports in this situation, but he can't really do that. So yeah, it's not looking good for Portuguese here. I don't think he can come back. Also now Germany has got the control of the natives, which I'm checking what they give.
It's just fasting. It is the
Oh.
Villagers gather more quickly, 10%, but take a HP cut, and the one that lets you change the settler wagon build limit. Oh wow, that's actually really good for Germany.
Right, he's got 22 of them, so it's good. He could make 2 more settler wagons, and oh yeah, it's a 2 same. Okay, it's the same. But also you can train gnats at some point because gnats cost some wood.
That's true.
That's also one thing to keep in mind.
That's one way to train the wood, or use the wood up.
Yep.
Doppelsodness.
Look at the pop. Just look at the overall pop. 89 to 182. I think it's over. It's really hopeless for ports at this point. And
Guard Dops. They look like superheroes almost, wearing capes. Just coming in here to swing.
They're just gonna totally tear through these horse arteries, and yeah, I don't know what CometK can do now. And soon his factories are gonna be under fire. So yeah, he's just resigning now.
And that looks like it will be Black Thought. Diktator now on match point already.
Wait, is it 4-1 already?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's 3-1, but I'm probably wrong. You won the first game as well. Maybe that's where I didn't.
Show me the Civ screen, guys. I might be wrong. Diktator's won.
I might very well be wrong.
Yeah, it is 4-1.
Oh boy, okay, yeah. I guess it's because of the first game I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't see it.
Take that into account in my scores. So 4-1. That's brutal. And I've seen them play against each other before, and usually it's really close. But it looks like today Diktator has the upper hand. Because it's like Diktator is a better player overall, I think we can say, because he's like almost a top player in sub. He's the top treaty player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. And apparently he's having trouble with a rotated screen or something like that. But I think it's now time for CometK to shine, because next he can play Germany, which, as we all know, seems very, very strong.
Yeah, it is really, really strong. And I just started playing that Civ because, you know, Germany is my main Civ in sub, and CometK was getting, I mean, how should I say, like, I exclusively played Germany against him, and it was just annoying him, because despite playing better than me, sometimes I was just winning because I was Germany, and at some point I was just turtling and getting so much more eco, and it was, like, really annoying for him. So now he pulls it out himself.
Yep.
And High Plains is another nice deathmatch map, I think, because the control of the TP line is actually already a 11 in deathmatch, and also you get these upgrades from the native post. So this time we're gonna get instant cav from the
the Shiani settlement.
Yeah.
That I think it's the Comanche that give the horse. Well, they both give horse upgrades, I'm sure. But
Comanche
yes.
gives speed and HP, and Cheyenne gives faster training.
Yeah, there it is. So.
And they will also spam, by the way.
Fast training cav. And
before we go in
too
much, I just want to say that the Cheyennes, they are insane because they get a multiplier against other cav. It's an upgrade from the native post, and they cost 110 wood. So talking about draining your wood, spam instantly a 110 wood unit, and then we will see how much wood they have left in a couple minutes. It's not gonna be a lot, I think.
Let's get into this. Dictator spamming down buildings immediately. I don't know why I'm even saying that. That's just what happens in DM. Church is already down. I guess we should switch to shipment sent because they'll be coming out really quick. But no Minutemen. No, there are Minutemen. Yep, from both players going across the map. And it looks like Dictator just going to put down a little bit of HP on that trading post, almost to reserve it and stop his opponent taking it. He's not going to stay there and continue building it. The CDB will finish that off, I suppose, and grab the upgrades. But Germany already opening with Palatine settlements for the double population on his houses.
Triple, yeah. It's triple pop, and it's
triple.
just
Holy shit.
yeah. And you see now that deathmatch, because lots of people play on Great Plains in deathmatch, so this is actually kind of standard deathmatch now. Like it's a Great Plains, the EP Great Plains if you want, and you get the same nats, and that's how it goes now. It's just instant. Not instant yet for Diktator because he was a little bit late. He was a little bit late to go for that, so he might be in trouble. He might be in a lot of trouble here. He needs to get the fast training upgrade. He's researching it now, and he's not researching it now.
No, he's not researching.
I think
he's getting it now. He's getting it now. Shiani Fury is now in, and fence. And okay, here we go. We can start spamming goons. We're about to pop to 200. Okay. Not yet.
Yeah, and the problem is that it's snowballing because obviously he's fighting with less pop, so he's taking bad trades all the time. And I think this might be.
There we go.
Now he's spamming, but you know he's lost already so many resources.
Yeah, and that's
fighting with less pop, and it's gonna be tough. But I mean, I don't want to say it's GG already, but it looks just really scary for Diktator.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, he does have his factories on while CometK has. Well, he's placing them now. He forgot about them, but.
He was just being really aggressive, it seems. Like...
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong player. No, wait.
And because of that momentum he's able to place down a front base already. You see a tower where he can chip his heavy cannons, so really, really aggressive. A forward artillery foundry, more barracks and more buildings going down. And eventually, if he can keep map control, he will have the stagecoach, and it's just much more eco. So, and now you see... these Cheyenne Riders, they have a 2x multiplier against all Cav. They are absolutely insane. And he also even shipped the native upgrades on them.
Oh wow, the team native warrior combat and team improved native warrior combat, just to have really, really strong natives here. That's interesting. So they're like hand Cav that's actually for somehow really good against like standard Cav, against ranged Cav. So they like counter goons in a way. That's really.
If they can catch them, yes. They do counter goon, but they also get countered by goons, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah. But, it's like Lancers. Yeah. Lancers versus pikemen or something that's similar.
Right. But if you do kite, then dragoons have the upper hand, but it's not always easy to kite when you have like...
And wilderness warfare coming in as well. France have some really strong native upgrades, which you just don't usually see in Supremacy.
And I'm surprised CometK isn't making these nats, because they cost only 40 food and 110 wood, so it's perfect for his macro right now. As you can see, he's got not much food, but a lot of food, so he could just spam these Cheyennes. And I don't know why he's not doing it. It's kind of strange to me. But he might lose his early advantage just because now Diktator is fighting with more pop. Because of the nets, basically. Yeah. So kind of a throw here, maybe from Blackthroat. Although he still had Nico, and he does,
He's still Germany, right? Like he's still got the extra settler wagons. We've not seen. Oh, we saw Germantown farmers come in, but he's still got the guild artisans to come in. He's still got a lot of strong stuff. But this fight here, it might be fine now. He's got a bunch of hussars coming in from the. God, jeez, this game. The advanced church. No, it's just a shipment.
Yeah.
It's just a shipment. That's what it is. It's the... Fuck, where do you get hussars from?
Hussars? Wait.
Oh, no, they're Uhlans. Sorry, they just look... They looked like hussars for a moment.
God,
that's why I was so confused.
Uhlans. And these Uhlans are melting. Look at these.
Yeah.
Look at this melting to the Cheyennes. Like, it's insane. They just died. Look at that. It's so CometK is ahead in eco by quite a bit, but he has to be really careful to not just like die now. And I really wish he would make more of these Cheyennes himself, because he already has so much wood he needs to spend.
It's not looking good for him, actually. Diktator doing a very, very good job here. He's now pushed forward past the middle of the map and is starting to take down all these forward buildings of Blackthought, and soon he's going to be on top of his opponent, which is quite impressive given the strength of Germany. That
Oh yeah, and one more thing I didn't say about why Germany is OP. Yes, there is even one more reason. It's that they have an infinite one heavy cannon shipment. So in late game they can just spam heavies. And CometK did ship it, because you see here there's like so many skirms, need something to deal with them, and actually that's a good catch here from CometK. I think he's got way less units, but he's got the counter composition. Like, he's just got his heavies and some Uhlans out, and Diktator might have to go back here.
Yeah, but he has got a bunch of native cavalry, which might be enough to deal with the heavy cannons. But having said that, there are Doppelsoddeners there. But not anymore. So now is his time to go in. GG, well played.
That's so surprising. I think he was in a great position. Yeah, he just didn't make nets. And the nets are insane. Yeah, look at the stats.
Which has 800 HP. The Shieni. Jeez, they are pretty good. Yeah. When you get like the guard upgrade on them, essentially, and you send native. Whatever it's called. This one and this one. And this one. Yeah, they have so many stats when you send these 3 cards. France just have insane nets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a big mistake, I think. If CometK just made these Cheyennes, he would be alright. I trained a lot of Cheyenne. I didn't see many of them on the field, though. But
okay. I think...
Anyway, yeah, it was really close. You know, you don't need much, because now Germany is ahead in eco. Hold. And he was not able to hold, and I think that's maybe due partly to not making these nets enough.
Yeah. And also, France just has really, really strong nets.
Yeah, they do, yeah. They have more ups, of course. But I think if we ask them, they will both tell you that Germany wins the matchup. So, but yeah, it was... Maybe France is a nice pick on this specific map because the Cheyennes are so strong, and that's why Diktator picked France here. I didn't...
The other Cheyenne post. Oh, yeah. They're not in the fight or something. Are you down for a bonus game? I think we've got time for one more, and they're up for playing one more by the sounds of it. Yeah, we cranked through a best of 9 deathmatch series in no time. Especially, well, it's also very fast because the scoreline was 5-1, right? Which is, yeah. But I have been told, like, deathmatch games similar to Supremacy games can go on, like, you know, like, quite a long time. I was expecting to see at least one sort of 40-minute jobby. But I think we've got time for one more since it was such a quick series. And
yeah,
but that is going to be it for the betting in the chat. So the winner, you will receive a subscription. Congratulations. Do with it what you will. If you already have one, pick someone. We'll gift it to them instead.
And yeah, about the game length, it's like in this game, for example, if CometK could have just held here, the game could have been really long, for example. Just because then they bust out of resources and they spam really slowly and then it takes a long time, you know. But if one of the players just get enough of an advantage at one point, then the game is over really quickly.
Congratulations, Hit Random. I'm sorry. about that. But yes, congratulations. You won the betting. And let's give this another go. I think Black Thought, aka CometK, stands a good chance here because going into this, he's got a much wider civ pool that he can play because his opponents used up a lot of civs.
Yeah, I don't know about Dutch in Deathmatch. I don't remember seeing Dutch in Deathmatch. I'm not sure how good they are.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting. Yeah, because when do you build the banks? That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, you get a quick eco, for sure.
Is it that quick, though? Because banks still take a long time to build. Well, I guess, though, like, once you've built everything else, you can just slam down, I don't know, 5 banks immediately, which is a bit like having, you know, 10 TCs working.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you for sure first make military buildings and your church and your houses, like they do every game, but you know, at some point he can just build his 5 banks and that's just a 20 villager boom, kind of. So it's decent. But I feel like the big problem of Dutch in this format is that they're probably gonna run out of gold really quickly because all of their units cost quite a lot of gold. I expect Dutch to try to make as many hussars as possible, maybe at some point, just because he will not have enough gold left to make skirms or reiters. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Apparently you are muted. I'm sure that'll be fixed in a moment. But let's get into this. Game number... Well... Still game number 6. I was kind of like, well, the series is over, so what is the scoreline? But it's still game 6. It's not like it's gone any further than 9 games, which is the maximum you can have in a best of 9. Game 7, okay, well, here it is. This is a bonus game, so Diktator has won the series 4-1, but we're going to finish it off since it was such a quick series with an extra bonus game. And I'm quite excited to see Dutch then. Let's see how they sort of plan out. So far, so good. Seems pretty normal stuff. Mercantilism, Minutemen to start.
He's already building banks. Actually, that's interesting.
Couple of banks there. I guess he's already got, like... Well, he doesn't need to have his houses built until the stables are up or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
He's going to be building the Sufi Mosque immediately for the villager build limit change. But Minutemen fight in the middle.
It looks like Dutch is going to be defending. He's not trying to go for a front base. He's just slamming down TCs to get a little bit of control, but not really trying to contest the map too much yet.
Yeah.
And Ports, on the other hand, is taking some forward map control.
The Reuters look much different.
Yeah, it's on EP. They have an actual guard upgrade, because on RE you can't see the difference between... There's only one skin on RE basically for readers.
Yeah. But it looks like the skin is in the game, it's just not been enabled or something. It now has been on our EP.
Yeah.
That's cool. But a bit of a fight in the middle. He's up against Porto again, so gonna have to deal with the Genets, which will win this basically Cav War. And especially with Genitors already in, as well as Dragoon Combat. Factory now going down for Black Thought, and gonna go with by the looks of it, Cav Combat followed by Infantry Combat for Dutch. That's one where Dutch will excel. Infantry Combat is such a strong card.
Yeah, but in fact, unlike in Sub, well, here you're in H4, so Ports also have the Infantry Combat basically.
Oh, that's true, yeah, because they have it in H4.
That's
a good point. Where normally you wouldn't
get
that as Portion Supremacy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because in this same matchup in Sub, Ports have lots of trouble dealing with infantry combat skirms, and but here it's not a problem because as you can see, Ports actually got just now infantry combat coming in. So, but anyway, well they're just fighting with skirm goon and. Heavy's coming in, and I want to see the volleys on the Cassadors because they have like no HP.
Yeah.
I want to see them. One of them not shooting. I mean,
but they're just normal heavy cannons. They're not like The thing is, in Supremacy, these heavy cannons in Deathmatch are the same strength as they are in Supremacy, whereas every other unit has guard upgrades and actually all of the advanced arsenal upgrades as well, so
Of course.
the scaling is sort of worse, but heavy's still quite formidable.
Yeah, and Castadors still have like 160 HP, which is barely more than an H2 Musketeer. So you know, it's they still die to heavies even now.
Yeah, that's true. It's not. They still have low HP.
Yeah.
But Dutch is really pushing in here. Coffee trade now coming in from his advanced church, and they're going to be able to put down a few extra banks. It's really interesting.
Dutch has some windows to push because they have 150 pop for their military, although it doesn't really matter, I guess, in Deathmatch. But at some point when you start making more villages, as Dutch, you will have more pop space than ports, just because ports will have more villas than you. But here, getting caught a little bit, like so many husks popping, and but I think Dutch is gonna be okay for the time being. But it's what I said. You see, Dutch is already out of coin, so that's he's got 5 banks, so he's gonna be able to get some gold back. But the gold situation is a little bit of a problem for Dutch right now.
Yeah, and then like you have to ship stuff like Bank of Rotterdam and Bank of Amsterdam to get even more banks on top of that. I wonder if Tulip Speculation is playable in Deathmatch. He has it in deck, so it must be.
Yeah, I mean, if you would ship a bank to have a card, sorry, to make one more bank, why not ship a card that gives you 15% boost on your banks? It's kind of equivalent. So. But
you'd need to have the banks up and running for it to be good.
Yeah.
But Esterio's coming in, as well as the Thar and Sword Rider, which are just Black Riders, and that's going to give him a nice pop boost. And he's going to push Dutch back here. Like, Black Thor is out of food, but he's still got plenty of gold and wood, whereas Diktator is out of gold. But he has a lot of banks, so that's pretty good. And his eco is much stronger than his opponent, so at the moment, so, well, it's 20 better.
Yeah, he's
30.
got 8 banks.
Yeah, he's 30 vills ahead, which is pretty impressive. So as long as he can hold, he'll be okay going into the late game. Now starting to set up towers behind this before his mass runs out as well, so he's got something to hide behind.
He's not really okay in late game. He's okay in middle game, yeah, because now he's got more eco. But if they boom to max pop,
99 vills, yeah. Dutch only has 50.
Will outskate, but yeah, for a long time, Dutch is gonna be ahead in eco. And these nats are really strong. I think the War Elephants, they do the job.
Yeah.
And you see Dutch made them because they cost 200 food, and they don't cost gold, so it's pretty good for Dutch.
Oh, wait, they don't cost any gold? Oh, they cost just food and wood because they're nats?
Yeah, the only nat that doesn't cost wood is the Apaches. They cost gold, but like almost every nat costs only food and wood.
Yeah, but they do cost some wood or just food.
Yeah. The War Elephants, they also cost 70 food.
Oh. Okay.
No, 70 wood and 200 food, I mean. But yeah,
but
it's
Diktator is making ground now with these shipments. 17 Reuters followed by 14 Skirms and 7 Hussar. Seems like Dick is ahead on shipments somehow.
And he's focusing his... I mean, Blacksword is focusing his towers on the covering.
Ports has 4 shipments stacked up. Now 3. I guess they take 10 seconds to train, so he's not too bothered about shipping them.
I think it's just a mistake, but yeah, he will probably ship them soon when he pays attention.
Yeah.
Now he's got refrigeration in, but I mean, yeah, there's no way he's used everything, right? There has to be. He can ship, for example, the infantry attack and HP cards, so he should really ship that because he's got mostly Castadors right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like Diktator has won this game, honestly.
Yeah, he's looking pretty solid right now.
Yeah, the graphs are just so one-sided. And it's gonna be a long time before ports can catch up with the Dutch eco. And I think until that point, he's gonna be just outmassed before he can actually catch up. So.
Were you? Just a quick question. Not even Deathmatch related, but have you played the SmackDown patch yet? Because I saw you titled your stream SmackDown patch, but I'm not convinced you played any SmackDown patch.
I did.
You did?
I haven't played. When you came in my chat, I was casting some normal games, but before that, I played against B-Winner and against Jerry Muno, a little bit of SmackDown patch.
Was it fun? I might go and grab your VODs and put them on the Age of Streaming channel.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Okay.
I didn't retrain any artillery though. We said we would do it in H3, and then I didn't.
Yeah, that's pretty much the rules when we do the SmackDown. You're not going to be able to train them in H1 and 2.
All right.
So,
yeah. So
that's fair enough.
But there were some funny builds for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty nice builds with braids.
Will the games, do they end quickly, or do the games last a good amount of time?
Sorry, I didn't understand. What did you say?
The SmackDown patch games, are they fast, or do they like take a while, or normal?
Oh, they are fast. I mean, it tends to go a little bit to late game, like keep more upgrades because you have more eco.
Yeah.
But the late game comes so early, in fact, that I mean, you know, it's really fast paced.
We'll start with 2 factory wagons next time.
You get units out before 5 minutes, and you can be H3 at 5 minutes, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's pretty that's pretty cool. So for those wondering, SmackDown patch is a custom patch where every week we do something, well, not every week, but every so often we do something really crazy. And this particular flavor is an extra. You start with a factory wagon, and I'm gonna put up a video of that on my YouTube channel. But CometK is hanging on here. He's despite being down in both graphs, like he's still here.
Yeah, he's actually doing okay here. But for how long? He's kind of relying on the fact that he has a skirmisher advantage. But once Diktator can bring some artillery or some hussars, it's gonna be tough with only Castadors to do much. You know, he's relying on towers also to kill the house and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
he's still getting
towers are dwindling.
There's 3 mortars, like it's gonna go down really quickly.
Yeah, those howitzers are really causing trouble for the outposts, and he's just fighting like next to his eco. If Diktator pushes in any further, he's not gonna have, well, any eco. But he's hanging in there. The Castadors are doing a good job. There's not really any, you know, artillery that counter these Castadors here. It's just mortars and culverins. And the only units are, here comes some Hussar. There's just not too much food for Diktator. So that's why the Castadors are doing so well. There's just, like, not enough Hussar to beat them. It would seem.
The Castadors are just very, very strong in treaty or deathmatch. Like, if you look at the stats, they have the same attack as Skirms and less HP, but 20% more range resist and more speed as well. And they're just really good, in fact. While in sub, they're pretty bad. But I wonder why Diktator doesn't just make more Huss. He's just making a few Hussars, but they just keep dying. So he's not really able to push more. But he's able to slowly push with his mortars. And I think eventually...
He's definitely making ground now.
Yeah.
But 2 horse artillery are gonna deal with those skirms, but the 2 culverins are now coming in. One's quite low HP, could focus that down with his towers. But yeah, they take down that artillery pretty quick. And now Wargelder's here from the Advanced Church of Dutch.
Yeah, and talking about tulip speculation, the card just came in for Dutch, so...
There it is. And now Dutch Eco is insane.
9 banks, and they got each 15% boost. So that's like 10 banks and a half, roughly. So it's a lot.
And that will be the GG there. Diktator picking up the 5th game as well. And I think, you know, at the start of the stream we were saying CometK, one of the best deathmatch players. I think Diktator just made a very strong showing. I think Diktator's going to be quite pleased with that. Well done to him.
Yeah, that was very nice. Again, I think I remember them playing against each other and having much closer games, but this time definitely Diktator coming out quite on top. Really well played by him.
Yeah.
And yes, that's the end of the show match, I guess. I mean, it was already the show match, kind of, but
Yeah, that's the end of the show match, and indeed the stream as well. We had a really long one, actually. We started with the Capture Age Play All 5 show match between AM and SY, which was... Capture Age is really, really beautiful. I wonder if I can... No, you can't turn the console on after the game's ended. You can zoom in AoE3. We were doing that earlier. Was it lagging in the games where I didn't use zoom at all? Or still...
It was a little bit laggy, but the one game where it was really laggy was against Germany,
was the
where
one where
I really felt like I was gonna lose it because my war wagons were totally running in his cav and I was getting crazy. But I barely won the fight anyway, so...
Yeah. And that was the one I was zooming on. Yeah, the Sioux versus German game. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. That's Age of Empires 3 Deathmatch for you. It's very fast-paced. I'd kind of like to see a version of Deathmatch where you start in the Discovery Age, and, like, aside from that, it's like normal Supremacy, except you have 20,000 resources, and just slow it down a bit so I can actually, like... But then maybe that wouldn't be Deathmatch. Deathmatch is fun because it's fast and...
It would be interesting, because you would have time, like, players would need to age, and it would give you a little bit of time to set up your base and stuff. But I don't know, yeah, well, I think it's fine the way it is, but it's really hard to play, for sure.
Well, it is what it is, right? Deathmatch is Deathmatch, and if you changed it, it wouldn't be Deathmatch. Deathmatch is you start with all the upgrades and 20,000 resources and blah, blah, blah. If you change that, I don't know, it's just not going to be the same. But it would make the Asian civs more viable, because currently, like...
Yeah. The problem is that Asian civs don't really have the fast training, I think, and they also don't have mercantilism, so they don't ship stuff. The only good thing about Asian civs is that they can go to age 5 because there's a glitch where you can hit the hotkey and place down your wonder and age up. So they always go Imperial, but they just drain their resources really fast and they don't spam so many shipments, so they still lose even if they're age 5. And investing like 8k resources into aging up and then getting your Imperial grades, it actually hurts you a lot in Deathmatch, so...
Yeah. Well, and you say it's a glitch, but it's almost like a feature now, like that they go Imperial. That's just part of Deathmatch balance. And they're still not very good, even though they can do that. But
they're so bad, even with the glitch. So if they couldn't go Imperial, they would be terrible. So that's why it's accepted, that you can do that. But it's like, it's not on the UI. Like, you can't actually click to H5. You have to use a hotkey, It's just like they forgot about it. The devs didn't think...
they originally didn't intend you to go to H5, but you